Hey YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here, back for some more Pauper action. We won the die roll here in the fifth and final match of this league, not going too crash hot so far, versing Bath. So, I mean, this hand looks good on face value, but we don't have any way to cast any of our white auras, and that just happens to be our whole hand. So we're going to mulligan. Alright, down to 5. Opponent keeping a 7. Boy, would that be nice. Alright, so we have to ditch a couple of cards here, and if we ditch Abundant Growth and Ethereal, that will give us an Ethereal plus an Armadillo Cloak, and we can turn to Ethereal off Ash Barrens with the Armadillo Cloak hopefully coming in the following turn after that. Alright, so it looks like we're versing a red deck, and boy am I glad we kept our life gain, so... We had basic land cycle, and we can't really hold up blockers against a creature that has prowess. That would be pretty ballsy. Ancestral Mask, not an awful card to have, but obviously guaranteeing the third mana drop would have been a touch nicer. Another Swift Spear. Alright, there's the Lightning Bolt. We would have been blown out on the blockers. Look at that. Opponent attacks, that's a lot of damage. Oh, just on time. It's a mana source. Alright, let's cash that one in. And suddenly the game's looking pretty good in our favor, gaining 5 life a turn. Alright, opponent fires off the Chain Lightning. They are not done yet. And now comes Experimental Synthesizer, finding a Swift Spear. Opponent bricks on mana though, so they're not going to be able to do that. We brick on drawing land, but Sentinel's Eyes is arguably a much better draw. Gives us that vigilance, so we're effectively gaining 14 off of an attack and a block. So very, very good. Very handy draws after going down to very few resources. Alright, so our opponent's deck is a version of a red burn deck, and I'm sure it looks somewhat similar to what's going on here with all of these cards. The main thing to take note of in the sideboard is End of Festivities, dealing 1 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control. After that, sometimes they can like shoot I don't think this particular list has goblins, but if they have goblins... Oh, wait, there is a goblin. You could see a goblin grenade occasionally, although one of Bushwhacker is not enough to run that. Reminder as well, if you do find this entertaining or informative, I'd appreciate any likes, comments, or subscriptions down below. Alright, so back to sideboarding. We'll bring in the Crimson Acolyte. That's definitely a good one to have. It's really good at chump blocking, but it can also help push through damage and help us get to that lethal damage in a pinch in certain scenarios. So we will be taking out Silhana Ledgewalker for the Crimson Acolyte. It is an efficiency swap. Essentially the same thing, but Crimson Acolyte's a little bit better because it doesn't die to End of Festivities. I think after that we just take out 1 Ancestral Mask and the list looks pretty good. Alright, so opponent on the play. We're going to no creature hand. We're going to be mulliganing. Alright, opponent has also mulled to 6. This hand of ours we will keep. Looks like opponent keeps theirs as well, so we have a ball game. So turn to Crimson Acolyte's pretty good. Even if our creature dies to End of Festivities, it's not a big deal. Hopefully we can put together some life gain or like a Vigilance Crimson Acolyte. That'd be really strong. Alright, opponent plays out Reckless Impulse, and our Glade Cover Scout's just chilling. I guess this is a decent point to play out Crimson Acolyte in case they draw a haste creature. Opponent plays Reckless Impulse, and they've still got the Swift Spear there. There's the End of Festivities, as predicted. That's going to get played. We're going to lose our Hexproof guy. I'm not concerned about losing our Hexproof guy. It's like not an issue. It's so much of a non-issue. It's not funny. Alright, so Tribal Crimson Acolytes. Let's go. Alright, another Reckless Impulse, finding Voldarian, Epicure, and Molten Rain. Molten Rain, not a huge issue, really. Would be nice if we could start hitting some auras though. I would be appreciative of that. Alright, let's attack with both our guys. Guarantee the damage. Second one, we'll play out the scout and we can start activating to give it protection. End of turn, lightning bolt at face. We're to 12. Down to 12. Experimental synthesizer. Sure thing, opponent. Finding mountain. Not too bad. It's good that he bricks on that one. Draws a card off blood token. Plays the mountain. There's molten rains coming out of planes, but like if that's what he's doing, I'm not too concerned. Just go ahead, give protection until end of turn. Alright, and we find Rancor, so that's a pretty good one. It's like continue attacking. 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. I don't even think we need to be scared of this Voldarian Epicure. I think we just attack with everything. Opponent is willing to trade them off. I'm okay with that. Alright, sacrifices the experimental synthesizer. Finds Monastery Swift Spear. Lightning Bolt face. Sure. We are 1 point of damage off of killing our opponent. They can, however, block the Crimson Acolytes. Still 2 cards in hand for the opponent. My god, the opponent's deck does go the distance a little bit, doesn't it? Attack. They're not forced to chump block, but they can choose to. Alright, we put them to 1. Maybe it was a little bit loose attacking with the Crimson Acolyte, but we're close to lethal. If I was more familiar with Experimental Synthesizer, I maybe would know the Warrior Token ability. Alright, and just like that, opponent concedes. There's a bit of rage card drawing there from then. I mean, they were playing into two creatures, 2 Crimson Acolytes, right? It was pretty rough for them, let's be real. Alright, so not the most successful league by any measure. Never feels great to to go negative. I mean, we did recover it at the end. Feel like in games 3 and 4 we got a little bit unlucky. I feel like keeping similar hands in future games would yield a win more often than not. I don't really... I'm not questioning my decision making too much on that one. I would say like Lotus Petal, I'm noticing it's a little bit of double edge. Like it's really good throwing down there, being really good on tempo, but then it's obviously also card disadvantage, so it can be quite hurtful into these black decks where maybe card advantage matters, or also into these blue decks where I guess card quality and card advantage does matter to an extent, because you want to have 1 extra aura to play than the number of counterspells they have, and Lotus Petal can tip that a little bit into our opponent's favor. So I am, for anyone new here, I am data mining this list for a little while. I'm not making any changes to the main deck. I'm just looking at making changes to the sideboard a little bit, depending on how the meta evolves. Really want to test this Lotus Petal because it's quite an interesting thing and it fixes a lot of problems. It allows us to play like an turn 2 Armadillo Cloak in some matchups, which can be good. You did see today at some point I turn 1 the Utopia Sprawl, or maybe that was in the previous league match, one of the 3 or 4. Turn 1 Utopia Sprawl, utilizing the Lotus Petal onto a forest. Turn 2, play the Scout plus an Aura. So that's a pretty nifty, fun interaction. I think that was against the mono blue opponent, and I think he had a null for the Cartouche Solidarity. Obviously, though, in that same position on the play, we resolve the Cartouche Solidarity. It's a different ball game because we do have that tempo going. Flaring Pain, boarded in for Corgate. Deck which is running around at the moment. I versed it in the previous league, and after looking at the 75, seeing that they have no hate cards in their 75 for against us, I'm assuming it's fairly well favored for them between the gates, the cats gaining them life back off of the gates, and then the flying creatures, which we can't block, attacking over the top for that lethal damage later on. Again, we didn't verse that deck today, so we didn't see this Flaring Pain. But the standard bearer that was there before, we didn't see any decks where I'd be looking to bring that in either. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did find it useful or entertaining, I would definitely appreciate you considering subscribing or commenting down below. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.